To order.
I don't think so. Nice to meet you.
I'll go ahead and do a roll call. Ms. Heredia,
Here.
Mrs. Hardin.
Here.
Myself, Secretary Terrazas.
Here.
And Vice President Guadiana.
Here.
And our student representative.
Here.
All right, thank you. That moves us to item C, board norms. Actively listen to all perspectives.
Close the loop, responding to concerns and questions as a unified board.
Model the professionalism we expect from all members of the district and community, customer service orientation.
Assume positive intent.
Be positive and responsive.
Okay, that moves us to item D. If everyone could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I salute the flag of the state of New Mexico, the symbol of perfect friendship among the united cultures. Okay, that moves us to item number 2, our student representative report.
The bathrooms at the Cobre baseball field are beyond disgusting. They constantly flood. They rarely have soap or paper towels. On rare occasions do they have toilet paper. The softball field's sound system is in beyond need of repair. The students are not pleased with the release of Mrs. Meek. She is one of the better principals that Cobre High School has had. She is active with the students and wants us to have fun instead of constant classwork. None of the teachers deserve to be let go as they have. The constant change of leadership won't allow students to grow. They will only focus on the new rules and not the material they need to learn.
Okay, thank you. Does that conclude your report?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, that moves us to item number 3, our action items. Are there any recommendations, Mr. Corey, for the agenda?
I actually have a couple.
Okay.
So I would like to move item J, Title III Funds Report.
Remove it or move it?
Move it, I'm sorry, move it
Where to?
up to, let's put it between B and C.
Okay.
And then also, if we're able here, I got a new business item here on award. I want to move that up as well, under new business A. And move that also between B and C. Is that possible?
Sure, but why don't we put it after C?
Perfect.
Okay, I'll go ahead and entertain a motion for the agenda as amended.
I move that we approve the action items as amended.
Can I interrupt you? I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I know you have public input, and would you be okay if I move public input up as well?
Sure.
Where would you like that? Because I assume, for the sake of all those fine people here, I don't think you want to hang out for a whole board meeting.
Why don't we move it after item K? Is that too far down?
It's up to you.
I guess let's move it after 5A.
Yeah.
So bills, and then we'll do the award, and then public comment.
Okay.
Okay. So can you amend your motion?
Sorry.
It's okay. Any other changes? Okay, so I'll go ahead and entertain a motion to move 5A after 3B. And then we're also moving item J after 5A. And then we will move item 10 after item J. Does that sound right?
Yes, ma'am.
Between items B and C?
Yeah.
Okay,
So you have three different ones. Okay.
yeah. So, I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion that we amend the action items as presented.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay. That moves us to item 3B, regular board meeting minutes of April 22nd, 2024. Any discussion?
I noticed a discrepancy in action item number 13 related to the visit to the state auditor's office where there was going to be explore options for revising the scope of work for the special audits. The error is that I amended the motion so that it would be that the report would be made back to the audit committee so that the audit committee consider the options and then present them to the board as the audit committee is the only statutory function for doing that recommendation. And
Okay.
that was approved by Ms. Heredia, and it's not reflected in the minutes.
Okay, Charlene, can we get that corrected? Okay.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Guadiana, would you like to entertain a motion, or would you like to table?
I'd like to table it till we see it again.
Okay. So Mr. Guadiana has a table to motion, or to, motion to table until next meeting. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? All right, seeing none, all those in favor of tabling signify by say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Okay, those will be tabled till next meeting. Okay, that moves us to item J, Title III funds. Ms. Chavita? Hi.
So I'm in my last letters course of the year. I did 8 units this year. So I'm stepping away for a minute and then I'll go back and finish. So Title III, I worked on the application last week. Title III is for EL students. If you receive less than 10,000 in any titles, you will need to go to a consortium, which we did. We only received, I think, 5,000 and $5,653. So we are in a consortium with SWREC and a few other charters. And with that money, we will be purchasing Imagine Learning licenses. Right now, we have 59 EL students. Next year, I project, depending on if they pass their access test, about 55 for next year. That's it for my presentation.
Any discussion or questions for Ms. Chavita? Okay,
Thank you.
have fun at
Thank you.
letters.
Okay. And then Gabby, you will have a form to sign. Charlene has it.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, I'll entertain a motion for approval of our Title III funds.
I move the approval.
Go ahead.
I move the approval of the Title III funds.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. All right, that moves us to 5A, our awards presentation. So let me read this real quick. So the Excellence in Student Achievement Award recipients have been announced. The New Mexico School Boards Association announced recipients of the 2024 Excellence in School Achievement Awards. The awards, sponsored by the New Mexico School Board Association, are presented to individuals selected by local boards of education throughout New Mexico, who have played an important role in improving student achievement in their local school district. 64 school boards participated in this year's program, and a record 182 award recipients were selected. So I am proud and honored to present this Excellence in Student Achievement to Miss Eleanor Pedraza from Hurley Elementary. I'm especially honored because I had the privilege to work with her out at Hurley Elementary, and she was my lunch buddy, and we became good friends. So congratulations, Ms. Pedraza, well deserved. Did you want one? Yeah. Congratulations.
My boss, and my great grandson.
Okay, that moves us to public input. So I only have one person for public input, or did other people want to give public input as well? Just the one? Okay, let me just read this real quick. Okay. The board provides the opportunity to speak on either agenda items or items of concern or both. In order to ensure that each individual has an opportunity to address the board provides a speaker up to a total of 5 minutes to speak during one of the designated public input times. The board president will recognize speakers, maintain proper order, and ensure adherence to time limit of 30 minutes for all public input speakers, and a maximum of 5 minutes per speaker. The president may also set a time limit of less than 5 minutes for individual speakers based upon the number of requests received. Questions of fact asked by the public shall, when appropriate, be answered by the president or referred to the superintendent for reply. No action or discussion shall transpire among board members regarding such questions or comments. Questions requiring investigation shall be referred to the superintendent for later report to the board. Questions or comments on matters that are currently under legal review will not receive a response. Personal attacks upon board members, staff personnel, or other persons in attendance or absent by individuals who address the board are discouraged. Presenters are cautioned that statements or representations concerning others that convey an unjustly unfavorable impression may subject the presenter to civil action for defamation. So I have Mr. Kennan, item of concern, the non-renewal of high school administration.
Do I stand here or over here?
Probably wherever the camera can see you.
Should be a mic.
Do we have a mic? Go ahead.
Good?
That's good, right there.
Okay. Yeah, my name is Dane Kennan, and I'm speaking this evening in support of the high school administration, and I'd like to see their contracts renewed. You know, the job of a principal, it's a very, very difficult one. It's much harder than it ever used to be. It's harder to be a teacher than it ever used to be. And there's a serious teacher shortage in the state, in the country, but there's even a more serious shortage of principals. And when you find a good one, I feel like, man, you got a diamond in the rough here. I believe a good leader possesses some of the following skills. It's communication, adaptability, organization, self-management. She's a team builder, flexibility, optimism, persistent, resilient, creative, sincere, and a good work ethic. Erin Meeks has demonstrated every one of these skills. She's intelligent, possessing a thorough knowledge of education and instructional strategies to help teachers. She's always accessible, speaking and listening to stakeholders, always working to solve problems. She has a vision for the school, which, like all her decisions, is student-based. What is best for students? Mr. Sanchez has spent his entire career in athletics and has the respect of the coaches in the district. Both individuals placed their children in this district, demonstrating that they support the district. I worked in this district, my kids went to this district, I have a fondness. I've never spoken in public input before, but I know this district's special. She has overwhelming support of the staff, community, and the students. Ms. Meeks has instilled trust among the staff, and that's not an easy thing to do. Last fall, a student came to a staff member wanting to know, what's going on with all the teachers? And the staff member asked her, well, what do you mean? And she said, well, all the teachers seem so happy. And she hadn't seen that in the other 3 years. There was never a clear reason for the non-renewing of their contracts. There was never a meeting to discuss any concerns the central office may have, so if there were mistakes, steps could be taken to correct them. Again, Erin Meeks is the only administrator in the district with secondary experience. So why was this decision made? Who was consulted? What advice did people seek before making a decision? High school principal in a district this size is arguably the most important position. The community is evaluating you all the time due to the visibility. Ms. Meeks and Mr. Sanchez are at everything. You'll see them at every single event, talking to students, talking to community members. We all have made mistakes and will continue to do so. But when a mistake is made, we try to correct it, learn from it, and then move on. We have an opportunity to correct this mistake. For the sake of the students in this district, I ask that you do the right thing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The only other person I got for public input was Laura Salas. Is Laura here? Okay. Anyone else for public input before we move on? Okay, thank you. Okay, that moves us to item item C, approval of bills. This was brought forward to our finance committee. We went through them thoroughly. Is there any discussion? Okay, seeing none, I'll entertain a motion for approval.
I move that we approve the bills.
Okay, thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay. That moves us to item D, budget transfer, 24-101, Title I. Mr. Ryan?
Switch me, so that we're, yep.
We have a budget transfer in front of you for 124-101, Title I, and this was reviewed by the Finance Committee. And a big part of this transfer is for $17,700 to fund, to put in place the Parent Center at Bayard Elementary School. There was a lot of materials that were purchased for it, so that's what this transfer is for. There was also some professional development for our counselors and some software purchased. So I recommend this budget transfer in the amount of $24,137.64.
This budget transfer also went through the Finance Committee. Is there any discussion, any questions? Seeing none, I'll go ahead and entertain a motion.
I move that we approve the budget transfer 24-101, Title I, in the sum $24,137.64.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Okay, that item passes. That moves us to item E, initial budget, 25-153, Medicaid. This is also yours, Mr. Ryan.
Okay, this is, we received some money throughout the year in our Medicaid funding. In fact, we received the total of $521,000. And what I want to do is go ahead and establish a budget so we could spend some of it. We're not going to spend the full amount. It will be, a big chunk of it will be carried into next year, but we do have to budget it all. So one of the items that I'm budgeting for is for a nurse's salary and benefits. The other items will be for professional development for our nurses to attend. They go to an annual nurses conference that's coming up. The next one is for maintenance, repair of equipment. The nurses have a lot of equipment that needs to be just go in for preventive maintenance once a year and be recertified. And the next one is for supplies and materials, and that's for all of our nursing supplies throughout the district. So this budget increase is for $521,019.
Okay, any questions or discussion?
Is there an opportunity to carry any of this over into the next?
Yes, a big part of it will be carried into next year.
Which part of that is?
It's not,
Some of it.
just whatever's not used in these lines. Probably what you see, the last three lines, is for about 400,000. I'd imagine we'll carry anywhere from about 350 to about 400,000 into next year.
I just don't get how it is that we can tell from this that's what's going into the carryover.
It's not showing a carryover. It's just that this money is spread throughout the budget, and there's not anywhere where you can put a carryover. It's just budgeted, and whatever doesn't get used is the carryover into next year.
So, in the terms of our $5 million deficit, this would reduce that then by 500,000?
It will help. It's going to be used for some salaries. It's going to pick up 3 salaries in next year's budget. And
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions or discussion? Okay, I'll go ahead and entertain a motion for approval.
I move that we approve the initial budget 25153 Medicaid in the amount of $521,019.
19 cents?
19 cents, sorry.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have
Okay.
more discussion.
Okay, go ahead.
Given the cuts that we are making, are there any other possibilities of increasing the carryover?
increasing which carryover?
The carryover from this?
This one?
Yes.
No, this is everything we have. This is actual cash.
Okay, but in terms of, is there any discussion that we have, like, for instance, professional development, maybe reducing that, or
Mhm.
supplies, reducing that?
Yeah. You know, this budget, these full amounts are not going to be spent. It's just that we had to budget that money.
No, I understand that,
But, oh yeah, there's not really going to be a whole lot going on in the remainder of the year in this budget. So, yeah, I'm going to carry the maximum I can into next year to help us out with the deficit for sure. And like I say, we do have 3 positions that will be carried in this grant fund. So that will really help us out tremendously.
Okay. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Okay, we have a motion and a second. I'll go ahead and call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, that moves us to item F. Budget transfer 27,583 behavioral health support. This was also discussed in finance. Go ahead, Mr. Ryan.
Okay, this transfer is for $31,000, and this $31,000 is earmarked for supplies and materials. And what I'm doing is I'm just moving it from one function of the budget to another. We're having to spend a lot of this budget in supplies and materials due to PED just barely got this to us in March, and we just barely received the approval in April. So we're really having to spend a lot in supplies and materials. So I'm just reclassifying from one function to another within our budget. It's just kind of a housekeeping entry for transfer.
Any questions, discussion? Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
I move that we approve the budget transfer 27583 behavioral health support in the amount of $31,000.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, thank you. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, that's approved. That moves us to item G. Initial budget, 28,120, New Mexico Highway Department Road Fund. This was also discussed in our finance committee.
Okay, this one here in front of you is it's an initial budget. This is for 2 awards that we received from the New Mexico Highway Department. We are using this money. The project's already done, and we have to put a budget in place because we will be receiving the money from the Highway Department. This money was used for boring underground and putting a water line to drain the swamp in Santa Clara. So that's what this one is for. This is just the share that New Mexico Department of Transportation is providing us.
Any questions or discussion?
So what is the total amount that we spent on that project?
It was,
We had 40,000 at first.
I believe it was about 47,000, something like that. And their share is 75%, and our share is 25%. And this is the full budget amount if we were to receive the full amount, but they're only going to send us whatever we spend, whatever their share is, the 75%. But this is putting into place a 100% budget.
Which would be reflecting their share.
Yes, this would
is
be
the
their share. If the full amount of the grant award were expended, this would be their share right here. Right, it's not going to be all expended.
So what happens to the remainder?
It reverts back to
Back to the state?
Yeah, the project came in under what had originally been estimated.
Okay.
What size of pipe did we end up going with?
4-inch.
4-inch, okay.
Yep.
I know that was a topic of discussion
Yes.
for a while.
Yeah, so you went with the 4.
Okay. Any other questions or discussion? All right, I'll entertain a motion for approval.
I move we approve this budget request.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, that's approved. That moves us to item I, initial budget, 31,900, Education Technology Equipment Act, and this was also presented at our finance committee.
Okay, this initial budget it's a do-over. In our last meeting, we did this, but we did it under a different fund, which was 31,100, which is bond building. And PED recently changed and added a new fund, which is 31,900, which is for these educational technology notes. So that one that we submitted at their last meeting, that was disapproved by PED. So I need to run it through under the appropriate fund. So this is to budget the $790,000 that we received from this last sale of educational technology notes. And it will be used in the form mainly for hardware and a little bit for software.
Okay, any discussion or questions?
I have a question in terms of full disclosure. We requested, no, we didn't request. This wasn't something that we had to go to a ballot on. But we made the statement that this was necessary so we could qualify for getting funding for building the school, a new school. That has been put on hold, yet we made an obligation that if that didn't happen, we would not extend the bond further than what it's already approved. So we could do some public outreach saying that this is the status. We're not going to look at getting funding this year because of having to meet another financial commitment related, basically the engineering, I believe.
We still are looking at funding. We're gonna try to go out to bond here as soon as we can to raise the money for design of the new construction.
Okay, so we're not as on hold as we were.
Well, yes, we are on hold. We were gonna go for approval on May 2nd, but we didn't have the money to put in on our portion for the design. So what we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to go out for that money first before we go for approval. So the ball's still rolling. It's just that the sequence of events have changed.
Okay, any other questions or discussion? Okay, I'll entertain a motion for approval.
I move we approve this budget action.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, that moves us to item K, discussion and possible rescheduling of the May 27th board meeting, which is a holiday. Do we have any recommendations? What about the 28th?
Is the 29th when we have to leave for the law conference?
Yes.
Okay. 28th works.
Does the 28th work for everyone?
28's fine with me.
Okay, same time. Do we want to do 5 p.m.?
5 p.m.
Okay. It's like,
Tuesday, the 28th at 5 p.m.
so, I think we'll have to do a motion since it's an action item.
It is.
So I'll entertain a motion for approval to reschedule the May 27th board meeting to Tuesday, May 28th, 2024 at 5 p.m.
I move that we reschedule our May 27th board meeting to Tuesday, May 28th, 2024 at 5 p.m.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, thank you. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay. That moves us to item number 4, 4A, fiscal year 2024-2025 budget update.
Okay, I just want to update you on the status of our budget for next year. We discussed it in Finance Committee in quite detail, and I'm just going to kind of give you just some highlights what's going on right now. The budget was submitted to PED, just a tentative budget we have in place right now. They had set our due date for April 24th, which it was submitted, and we do have a review with PED scheduled for tomorrow, and at what point we will be discussing it. So we have until June 20th to approve this budget, and right now we're looking at possibly approval on June 10th, at the June 10th board meeting. So we'll have more information for you at that time. But yeah, we did discuss it at the Finance Committee, and they did bring up a lot of questions on what things were changing and so on and so forth, and so there was a lot of discussion there. So I just wanted to update you on where we are with that and the timeline that we're looking at. So that's where we are.
So, Mr. Ryan, so that meeting's tomorrow?
Yes.
And then there's another hearing on Wednesday, correct?
It's going to be just tomorrow, and that's it. Or, no, they changed it.
It's Wednesday.
They changed it to Wednesday,
Wednesday
yeah.
at
so-
10:30 is what you
yeah.
said this. Okay.
Yeah, but they're going to send, they'll send a packet out beforehand, so yeah, that meeting will be on Wednesday.
Okay. Any other questions?
Yes, can members get a hard copy of the budget?
Sure. You know, I sent it out, when I sent out the packet to the finance committee, I sent it in that, and I always do a blind carbon copy to the non-members of the finance committee, so you should have received it in
If
the.
it said finance committee, I probably didn't open it.
Yeah, okay. All right, I could go ahead and send you one then. I sent, yeah, I always include you and Emery
Okay.
on that email, so I'll go ahead and email you a copy of it.
Thank
We're-
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ryan. So that moves us to 5B, our new business, 5B, graduate profile.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
Hello.
Everybody can see us. Okay, we've got those teacher voices, we might not need that, but thank you. All right, good evening, members of the board. It's our pleasure to present to you the Cobre Consolidated School District Graduate Profile. Tonight I have with me Leslie Arnold, the Cobre High School Instructional Specialist, and Zoya Provencio, Cobre High School Reading Interventionist, and we will share details with you about the graduate profile building process. However, before we speak about that, I'd like to share some information about what a graduate profile is. Have y'all ever heard of a graduate profile before tonight? I believe our graduate profile is in your packet, if you'd like to pull that out. Okay, so the New Mexico Public Education Department, in partnership with Future Focused Education, established strategic priorities following the Yazzie Martinez lawsuit and COVID-19. One of the strategic priorities is graduation equity, which is where the graduate profile comes into play. According to the New Mexico Public Education Department, graduate profiles articulate a vision for the knowledge, skills, and attributes that students need to attain to be successful after graduation by valuing and engaging with local wisdom. I like that they have used the term, it's like a North Star for a district. Profiles can be used as a tool to guide or to plan with the end in mind to ensure that schools and district efforts contribute to the vision for all students.
So the process that we went through as we put together our graduate profile included the involvement of teachers, staff, our community members, our students. Everyone in the community as a whole makes up what a graduate is from Cobre High. So we began with an introduction to graduate profiles, informing ourselves what it actually meant to create this profile. We looked at examples from schools around the state to see what was common practice. And we met initially on February 12th. We wanted to use the word strong because we wanted to keep it in line with the marketing we already have in place for Cobre. And we like the concept of sticking with Cobre Strong. So initially, Zoya and I spent 2 days playing with words, trying to fit our profile into the concept of strong. This led to the creation of a survey on February 19th, in which we wanted to push it out to the community and have community members have a voice in the process. We gave them a number of attributes that we thought might define what a graduate is for Cobre Consolidated Schools. Some of these attributes included communication, computer skills, critical thinking, dependability, initiative, integrity, interpersonal skills, lifelong learning, preservation, and perseverance, and professionalism. And our survey closed on February 23rd. We had 62 responses, ages 16 and up, to our survey. The high school posted this survey online. We also had paper flyers printed up with a QR code, and those were pushed around the community at baseball, an enchilada fundraiser that we had for baseball, and multiple basketball games. That also reached out to area businesses to provide them with the opportunity to participate in our profile. What popped up the most as a response to our profile is the question, what is one word that best describes our community? And that word was family. Our focus group met again on February 27th, and we created a working list of ideas defining what a graduate profile might look like for our district. After that, Zoya and I spent a number of days trying to find the words to fit this profile that we were moving toward based on all the feedback that we had received. We went with courageous, open-minded, balanced, responsible, and empowered co-grade. This aligned with the statements and the responses that we received in our survey. Zoya dazzled us with a document with her canvas prowess. In fact, Zoya made 12 rough drafts that we looked at. Mrs. Meeks, Zoya, and myself finally narrowed that down from 12 to 7, and Mrs. Meeks took that to the principal meeting for a final selection.
The ones that you have in front of you right now are poster size and then online version of Coca-Cola. So I'm going to, glad to be here. Okay. I have a clear voice. So today, I implore us as a district, not just Cobre High School, to not just look at it as a piece of paper or another poster to hang on the wall or another box to check and say we've got it done, but rather a system that we use that changes the lives of our students that we serve. As a community, we want our graduates to embody these 5 pillars: courage, open-mindedness, balance, responsibility, and empowerment. These are not just words to be printed on a poster. They are pillars upon which we can build the future leaders of our community. It's time for us to take tangible action to ensure that these values are not merely aspirational, but are lived and breathed by every student, from boy daycare all the way to our graduating seniors. And this cannot be done without our faculty and staff following this vision as well. As Erin said, the concept of a graduate profile is not a new one. We have long articulated the kind of individuals we wish our students to become, but as they walk out the doors and into the world beyond. However, I urge us all to move beyond the realm of words and into the realm of action. We have the opportunity, dare I say even the responsibility, to embed these values into the fabric of our educational system. Courage is not just about facing challenges ahead, it's about encouraging students to step out of their comfort zones, to speak up for what they believe in, and to stand tall in the face of adversity. Open-mindedness goes beyond tolerance. It's about fostering an environment where diverse perspectives are not just accepted, but embraced, where dialogue and understanding flourish. Balance is not merely about academic achievement, but it's about nurturing the holistic development of our students, ensuring that they excel not just in the classroom, but everywhere and every aspect of their lives. Responsibility extends beyond academic integrity, but it's instilling a sense of accountability, ethics, and management for oneself and for the world around us. And empowerment, it's not just a buzzword, but it's about equipping our students with the knowledge, skills, and confidence to shape their own destinies and affect positive change in the world. Implementing the graduate profile into our daily practices requires more than just lip service. It requires a commitment to fostering a culture that upholds these values in everything we do. It means integrating them into our curriculum, our teaching methodologies, our extracurricular activities, and our interactions with students. In the article that Ms. Meeks has for you right here, Justin Moss talks about fulfilling the promise by not just asking how we will measure these skills, but rather how we will let our students practice these skills. It means providing opportunities for students to develop and demonstrate these qualities in real-world contexts, both within the walls and beyond our school, starting with, example, the Ron Clark House system, to build a community of belonging, having morning meetings and advisory on a daily basis so students can practice soft skills and learn how to be successful and learn the essential 55, which makes them a successful human being. Preparing students to be college and career ready with programs like AVID, and also giving the students classroom job duties, hold offices and clubs, and have internships for careers they dream of working in. By making the graduate profile a living, breathing reality, we not only prepare our students for success in college and career, but for success in life. We empower them to navigate our increasingly complex and integrated world with confidence, integrity, and compassion. We equip them not just with knowledge, but with the character and resilience to thrive in the face of whatever challenges they may encounter. So, I may sound like a broken record, but I'm an advocate for our district's mission statement, to empower tomorrow's innovators, leaders, and thinkers for lifelong success. So let us not confine the graduate profile that you have in front of you to mere words on a poster, but let us bring it to life in the hearts and minds of every student, faculty, staff, and community member who walks through our doors. Let us be courageous, open-minded, balanced, responsible, and empowered in our commitment to shaping the leaders of tomorrow.
Thank you so much. And you didn't sound like a broken record. You sounded very inspiring. Thank you for working with Future Focused Education. They're a great organization to partner with. So thank you. Any other comments?
Yeah. The concept that you're promoting here, there's a void of that here. And having a focus now, getting there, is going to take a little while, I think, but I think you guys are headed in the right direction. To have that incorporated into the embodiment of a student is important, and that'll carry on for a long time. I appreciate your efforts.
Anyone else? Okay, thank you so much. Okay, that moves us to item number 6, our Finance Committee report. Like I said, we discussed all these budget transfers that were approved. We discussed the bills. We also had some discussion around some teachers moving from level 1 to level 2 to level 3 that may impact the budget. So we brought up those concerns. Mrs. Harden, Mr. Terrazas, did I miss anything else we discussed?
We did discuss the initial budget that was submitted to PED, and I mean, as a committee, we broke it down pretty hard. I mean, that was a little over an hour and a half meeting, and yeah, Mr. Escala does an excellent job of bringing stuff to the table, so for discussion. So very much appreciated from his standpoint.
Anything else? Okay, any questions for Finance Committee? Okay, that moves us to item 7, our Audit Committee report.
We did have a meeting on the 8th, and Gustavo was present from Jaramillo Group. Audrey wasn't there, but we went over some of the submissions that are going, and there was a pending submission that Mr. Ryan was going to have the following day. Otherwise, we're on track for the 22 audit, and they're working on the 23 audit now as well. Going forward with the 23 audit, we hope to have that submitted on time. No such thing as submitted on time. It was due November 15th of last year. So it's a matter of getting it in comprehensively so that we can get it done. And then starting in 24, for the audit year 24, we should then be on time and have that done by November.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Guadiana. That moves us to item number 8, board members' reports. Mrs. Heredia, do you have anything?
Not at this time.
No. Mrs. Harden?
Not at this time.
I just want to comment on the the Cobre High Band and the middle school band. I was able to attend the concert, and they did a phenomenal job. And Mrs. Gearhart is retiring, so I know Mr. Gearhart was pretty emotional, but it was a nice night celebrating our kids. So thank you. Mr. Terrazas?
I'll ask Charlene, I sent her a flyer from Hidalgo Medical Services. They have a Jump into Summer festivity happening on June 22nd from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. And I'm not sure if more than 3 of us are going to be there or happen to be there. It's got to be on the...
Oh, for the quorum?
Yeah, for a possible quorum if we do attend that function. So we need to look at that. And then, again, great job by our student athletes, you know, track was this past week. We've got baseball coming up this week. They ranked #1, girls softball ranked #2. Just excellent job by all our students and coaches and staff, so thank you.
What's that of the Hidalgo?
It's a Jump It Summer. It's a festivity for all of Grant County.
Okay.
Yeah.
What date was it, Mr. Thanos?
June 22nd. And certainly you could just forward that flyer to all the board, or all staff, really.
In addition to what's been mentioned, there's also golf. So,
Today.
That's ended this year. We almost had a placement on state, but the criteria was different than what we thought. But there's an improvement there. There's also a clinic that they held last week.
It was Saturday.
Oh, yep, and I don't know how that went. I was not here at that time.
We had about 10 students, I want to say 3 over the age of 10 and 7 under the age of 10. I got to work with the younger ones. It was a lot of fun.
I really wanted to take notes. But otherwise, I think we're closing a year soon, and hopefully we'll close it in a way that's positive and looks forward towards the beginning of the new year. Students are already absent, it seems like, in school. But if we can, I know I have to keep my daughter focused, and my son too. But I want to thank all the teachers and all the initiatives that have gone out. I think that things have been a much better year. Safety has been a much better thing. Last year was dysfunctional, and where we're at now is miles ahead. And I look forward to continuing in that way.
Okay, thank you. That moves us to item number 9, our superintendent's report. Item A, update on 4-day week lawsuit.
So I can literally hear it still going because it's running in my office right now. So I was able to listen in on the first part, and Mr. Stan Rounds was the first one to testify. He was on for a couple of hours. And then Dennis Roach is the superintendent out of Logan. He was on for about an hour, and then that's when I came over. I can still hear it going, so they're still continuing the process. So I don't have an update as far as that. So as soon as I do, I will get something sent out to everyone. I've already sent an email out to the staff, and then I'll update everyone. I know you guys get the same one, right, when I send it out?
I think I got the update under
Okay.
the staff one.
Because I send it out anyone that has the Cobre school address should get it. So, still in process as we speak.
And this is a hearing in what venue? Is it a court hearing? Is it a legislative hearing?
It's a court hearing.
To Clovis.
It's in Curry County? I think it's.
It's in Portales.
Oh, Portales?
Portales. And it's district court?
I'm not sure what court it's, no, it has to be district court, so yes.
Okay. Very good.
So they're testifying still. And then fundraisers, they're included in your board report, and that is all I have for this evening.
I don't know if the public knows very much about the lawsuit, if you want to explain that.
I gladly will. I'm looking at a room of educators though, so I'm assuming.
Oh, then we're good.
Yeah, I was gonna say, please ask, I'll gladly share, but.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Corey. We've already done public input. That moves us to item number 11. Executive session notice is hereby given so that the Cobre Board of Education will meet in executive session for the following purposes. Item A, pursuant to section 10-15-1H2 of the New Mexico Open Meetings Act, specifically so that the board can discuss and legal counsel can advise regarding a complaint against the superintendent. Item B, pursuant to section 10-15-1H of the New Mexico Open Meetings Act, section 12-6 2.2.5 of the New Mexico Audit Act and 2.2.2.15 NMAC for the board president to update the board and legal counsel to advise regarding status of a special audit. Item C, pursuant to section 10-15-1H2 of the New Mexico Opens Meeting Act, specifically so that the superintendent can update the board regarding the hiring, promotion, demotion, dismissal, and assignment or resignation of, or the investigation of employees of the superintendent. And item D, pursuant to section 10-15-1H2 of the New Mexico Opens Meeting Act, specifically so that the board can discuss and prepare the superintendent's evaluation. I'll go ahead and entertain a motion.
I move that we go into executive session to
Okay.
discuss the following items.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
All right, I'll go ahead and do a roll call vote. Ms. Heredia?
Yes.
Mrs. Harden?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Secretary Terrazas?
Yes.
And Vice President Guadiana?
Yes.
Okay, we are in executive session at 5:57 PM. At the conclusion of the executive session, for statement affirming that no action was taken in executive session and that discussions were limited to personnel matters and the special audit as specified in the agenda. So I entertain a motion to reconvene in open session.
I move that we reconvene in open session.
Okay, do I have a second?
A second?
Okay, thank you. I'll do a roll call vote. Ms. Heredia?
Yes.
Mrs. Harden?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Secretary Terrazas?
Yes.
And Vice President Guadiana?
Yes.
Okay, so we are now back in open session at 8:09 PM. That moves us to item 13, action items. Item A, approve amendment number 1 to forensic auditing procedures contract with Armijo Accounting Group. I'll entertain a motion.
I move that we continue with the contract with our audit, and do we make mention of the discounted price, or
You can, sure.
at a savings of 30,000, going from 120 to 90,000?
Okay, thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, I'll go ahead and do a roll call vote for this one too. Mrs. Heredia?
Yes.
Mrs. Harden?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Secretary Terrazas?
Yes.
And Vice President Guadiana?
Yes.
Okay, that's approved, and that moves us to item B. Approve superintendent's evaluation completed in executive session. I'll entertain a motion.
I move that we approve the evaluation as we reviewed in closed session.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and do a roll call vote. Ms. Heredia?
Yes.
Mrs. Harden?
What do you want to answer on this one? Yes?
Sure. If you're approving the
Oh,
evaluation.
okay. Yes.
Myself, yes. Secretary Terrazas?
Yes.
And Vice President Guadiana?
Yes.
Okay, that moves us to item 14. Executive session notice is hereby given so that the Cobre Board of Education will meet in executive session for the following purpose. A, pursuant to section 10-15-1H2 of the New Mexico Opens Meeting Act, specifically so that the board can present to and discuss with the superintendent's evaluation. I'll entertain a motion.
Means we have a motion to table?
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? Okay. All those in favor of tabling this till next meeting? I'll do a roll call vote. Ms. Heredia?
Yes.
Mrs. Harden?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Secretary Terrazas?
Yes.
And Vice President Guadiana?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. That moves us to item 16, adjournment. Do I have a motion for adjournment?
I move.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, we are adjourned at 8:12 PM.